tomorrow and helping the businesses find the talent that they need to help their industry and their businesses thrive. And many people ask how BECAP got started, what is our origin story? And the truth is, the story is still unfolding. And the story is not complete with you, without you, all of you. And in just a moment on this stage, you're going to see the BECAP story come to life by the actual key players that helped us get started a few short years ago. All to see at the Port of Los Angeles, which has been our North Star in many ways, the Los Angeles Economic Development Corporation, Luke Meyer at the Center of Excellence for Labor Market Studies, and the powerhouses of Sal Baez, Matt Horton, and Richard Burgess early on created the research that without their early work would not have helped us advance to where we are today. And so today, you're going to hear from globally recognized leaders, environmentalists, statewide leaders, local government leaders, all here to help you get the information that you need to take action. Some of you from outside the community college system may be wondering why community colleges are leading the development of the workforce for the blue economy, and what brings so many faculty from across California, Texas, and indeed the federal government to our summit today. And quite frankly, it's to develop the workforce of tomorrow. It's actually in our community college mission to do so. So we aim to build a workforce that's inclusive of the residents of the greater Los Angeles area, all 88 cities, and the state of California. And I know for many of you, it may seem like the resources that we've relied on to build the blue economy and take climate action are shockingly being dismantled. And you wonder what that means for the gains and the momentum that we've built to restore our environment. But that's what makes today so important. We owe our gratitude to the state legislature in Sacramento and the California Community College Chancellor's Office, especially our own Dr. Christian, for their sustained funding for the past decade. The Strong Workforce Program, along with our fiscal agent, the LA Regional Consortia, makes these competitive funds available for us to produce this summit, and indeed, all of the blue economy activities that we've funded over the past few years. And this funding is not available to do just the same old thing. It's to be transformative, bold, innovative, and collaborative. And regional collaboration sounds like good policy, but wow, it's really hard in practice. Given our current polarized political climate, it makes me grateful for past California governors, legislatures, and chancellors who've required this collaboration and who supported the program. And I hope that today's success offers proof that they invested well. I'd like to acknowledge the 19 community college presidents in the LA Regional Consortia who've championed this project, especially my own Santa Monica College president, Dr. Catherine Jeffrey, our Harvard College president, Dr. Gustavo, and Dr. James Limbaugh, the president of West LA College. Thank you for your commitment. You exemplify the spirit of partnership and collaboration. And a special thank you to our VPs, my own Vice President, Jason Beardsley, Dr. Duran at LA Harbor College, and especially all of the deans, directors, and faculty members who are the founding members of BECAP. We wouldn't be here without you. And I'd like you to stand and be recognized for your efforts. All of the deans, directors, and the Los Angeles Regional Consortia, raise your hands. And just in closing, I just want to say that over the past 5 years of working on the blue economy with our partners, I realized that there's just not one college, one university, one port, one agency, one nonprofit, not one government agency that can advance the blue economy alone, nor meet California's ambitious energy goals. We have to work together. But you know this, and that's why you're here. And so finally, I just want to thank the BECAP Faculty Steering Committee. After lunch, you're going to hear them discuss the progress that they've made convening, collaborating, and discussing the plans they have to address the curricular needs of the blue economy industry across various disciplines. And in the afternoon, the faculty are going to join with business leaders on separate panels to discuss how the blue economy offers pathways to harness the ocean's resources, promoting clean waters, healthy ecosystems, responsible tourism, blue technology innovations, and the vast potential of marine renewable energy and beyond. So please stay for the entire day and the entire summit and meet the people in this room who are going to help us save our communities and indeed save our planet. I'm so excited to get started, and I thank you for being a vital part of this conversation today. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Ramos, first of all, for your friendship and your inspiration over the past 19 years. I also want to take this time to acknowledge and thank Los Angeles Harbor College President, Dr. Luis Dorado, and our Vice President of Research and Economic Development, Dr. Alexandra Duran, for allowing me to be a part of this course. So I'm excited to be here with you today to kick off what I hope will be the first of many meaningful conversations following this summit. We are privileged to have so many outstanding speakers and panelists throughout today, and we hope that you will think critically about your role as educators and the impact the emerging blue economy will have on your curriculum. This is an opportunity to reflect on how we can adapt to meet the needs of industry while also collaborating to ensure that the communities we serve are benefiting and thriving in this new economy. As community colleges, we have the responsibility to ensure our communities are not only benefiting from this, but actively participating in the opportunities that our local industries have to offer. Taking care of our students and our planet is our collective success. For me personally, the importance of the blue economy became clear when I was the Vice Chancellor of Workforce in 2022. At the time, I was navigating a new career at the State Chancellor's office when Dr. Ramos reached out and told me all about the exciting work they were doing in LA. I knew right away that I needed to be part of this movement. My home community is the harbor area, and I could see the potential and the possibilities instantly. The incredible partnerships in clean, renewable energy that are forming around the harbor area are a true game changer, especially for the environmentally challenged communities and neighborhoods that surround the Port of LA. The collaborations with organizations like All to See, I'm gonna personally thank Jenny and Terry for their commitment to this work, and the Port of LA, Mike Galvin, for being one of our sponsors today, are key to transforming our local economy and ensuring that our communities not only survive but thrive in this blue economy. We must also recognize the pivotal role we play in advancing Chancellor Christian's Vision 2030 and its commitment to equitable, sustainable, and inclusive future. For community colleges, Vision 2030 is more than just a framework for economic growth. It is a call to action for us to prepare our students for the dynamic and ever-changing workforce, particularly in emerging fields like the blue economy. By equipping students with the skills that they need to thrive in this new sector, we are directly contributing to the realization of Vision 2030, ensuring that underserved communities are not left behind as the world changes. Today, I encourage you to take the time to listen, to learn, and to actively engage in discussions taking place. For my community college colleagues, thank you for being here. This is your chance to launch or relaunch this vital work that you are engaged in and to form new connections with our intersegmental colleagues as well as our industry partners. Together, we play a pivotal role in developing the workforce that will drive the future of the blue economy and fulfill the goals of Vision 2030. Thank you all for being here today. It is my absolute honor to be up here with my colleague, Patricia Ramos, and to be a part of this amazing work and to have you all participate as well. So now I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Jeff Cleary, the Director of the Center for Climate Futures. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tricia and Sandra. So, almost precisely 3 years ago, I started a new job at the Foundation for California Community Colleges. And that job was to help colleges and the Chancellor's Office innovate and accelerate work that they were already doing that was relevant to climate. I started meeting people right out of the gate who were doing really exciting things at that campus level. But often that work was in isolation from their peers. So fast forward 3 years to today, and look at what we have. We're on year 2 of the Blue Economy and Climate Action Pathways Conference, bigger and better. We have a chancellor who has made climate a top-line priority in her Vision 2030. We have a cohort of climate fellows that have been getting started, pulled from your campuses and districts that are taking deep dives into fields of climate practice like sustainability, workforce development, and community engagement. And we have initiatives like the California Center for Climate Education over at West LA College and the Center for the California Renewable Energy Laboratory over at the current CCD that are up and running at this point. And we have emerging networks of faculty, staff, and affiliates from colleges across the state that are working in climate relevant work. So it's been an incredible 3-year run. And along the way, we've built collegial and friend relationships with people that are leaders and participants in this work. So with that in mind, it's always a great pleasure to work with the Santa Monica team, Tricia, Stephen, AJ, Ashanti, Lisa, President Jeffrey, all of you. It's always so much fun. And it's also important to thank Chancellor Christian for providing the support that has unlocked the capacity of working groups like this to come together and really dig deep into ways to connect, share, and lead. And I'll point out that at this point, groups like this are not just leading within your region and within the state. You really are serving as national examples of what is possible from the community college world. That's something we've been sharing across the land. So usually when I speak at these events, those of you who know me already, I tend to talk about adaptation, mitigation, fields of climate practice. But we now have like a full day of programs that's going to be exploring those topics, so I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm going to regale you what's going on in my head today, which we'll see how that goes. I think it's important to talk about this moment that we're in. We're truly living that proverbial blessing and curse of living in interesting times. And then I'll try to bring it back around to why I think community colleges must be at the center of this blue and green work. Obviously, things have changed a lot at the level of federal government, but it's not just government, but also society that's really been evolving quickly in the past year or so. And as part of my job, I've had the great privilege of doing a lot of traveling, attending all kinds of conferences and meetings in the higher ed and climate space. And I've been able to hear how people are talking and the evolution of how people are talking about higher ed, climate work, politics, and society. And obviously, depending on who you talk to, you have a different story. Many people are expressing a lot of fear right now. Some people have direct material impacts. They've lost contracts or grants. We've seen a lot of pivoting. People like really changing either the way they talk about their work or the way they're doing their work. We've also seen other people in institutions doubling down on this is the way we do it and we're not going to change just to follow the trends. And then it's also important to recognize that within our own community, the community colleges, there are people who are feeling a sense of relief and hope right now. It's a complicated picture. So I think to truly understand the moment, we need to extract ourselves a bit from the turmoil of now and turn a bit to the wisdom of the ancients. Next slide. So those ancients in the room from Gen X and above will know the sage purveyor of wisdom. In 1984, Madonna gently and understatedly reminded us that we indeed are living in a material world. Why would I bring this up? This actually grew out of a panel I participated back in January down in Santa Monica. The panel was focused on the future of green jobs. One of the panelists speakers on that panel was Ephraim Beiser, who's a senior manager at LinkedIn. And he has access to all that behind-the-scenes data that shows what people like you and me are thinking about and posting about. And in response to the question, have you seen any changes to what people are thinking about with respect to green jobs? He had a very intriguing, or at least to me intriguing, response. People are shifting from the moral to the material. So, next slide. What did he mean? People are becoming less interested in symbolic aspects of work, or what other people have less charitably called virtue signaling, and becoming more interested in actual physical outputs of the work, and what that work brings back in material benefits to their own lives. So those comments really got me thinking about other conversations I had heard leading up to that. One that comes to mind took place last summer at the Harvard Climate Week. They had put together a panel of Zoomers, mostly mid-20s young people, mostly from the climate action space, but also a couple of more conservative people from conservation organizations. So it was an intellectually diverse panel. But the one thing they all agreed upon was that negative messaging around climate change was not really working anymore, and that they were coming out of this time when the face of the climate movement was symbolic protest. Soup at our museums, pedestrians blocking bridges. But the message from these young people was that, the message from the symbolic protest was that we as good people should be morally moved to take action to save the planet. And there's a lot of truth to that. But for these young people, their concern was that this approach wasn't bringing new people into the fold. And they wanted a more positive vision of what climate work can accomplish, rooted in the material benefits that people will gain as we get a handle on these problems. So here's where I want to transition back to community colleges and initiatives like BECAP. I contend that community colleges and their partners are uniquely and ideally positioned to navigate this moment. Community colleges emerge from a bedrock moral principle that high-quality education should be attainable for all. But it doesn't stay abstract. So let's take the example of BECAP. BECAP is not exclusively focused on the moral question of getting people to care about the ocean resource. BECAP is identifying and building career pathways that will lead to material improvements in people's lives. And what are the outcomes? People with good jobs in emerging fields, better air quality, better port operations, regional economic development. And all of these things are what climate adaptation can look like. And the BECAP consortium is filling in the gaps from where we are today to where we need to be to achieve these material improvements. Next slide. So to pan back out to community colleges generally, community colleges and initiatives like BECAP are key to helping us adapt to changing conditions, changing climate, changing administrations, and changing zeitgeist. So why? How is that? Well, you are local and regional. You're working here in the unique context of your ocean and port resources with the particularities of your communities in mind. You're focused on economic mobility because you're working with Luke Meyer and his team over at the Centers of Excellence and your industry partners and Stephen Chung's team over at LADDC to make sure the pathways you're building make sense. And you're cost effective. You're delivering return on investment for many who have grown more skeptical of the value proposition that higher education is offering. Your anchor institutions within your communities, ready to provide things like emergency response and community supports, as we've clearly seen in the past couple of months following the fires. And finally, crucially in many ways, community colleges have remained above the fray, staying out of the culture wars that have engulfed much of higher ed, and we've been able to focus on delivering benefits to the individuals and communities that you serve. So frankly, in these crazy times, that's an excellent way to be. So in summary, Madonna was right. Gen X, we nailed it. Thank you. We should never forget that we should never forget in part that we are living in a material world, not to minimize the aspect, the grounding that comes from our moral foundations. But our best moral frameworks and principles aren't worth much if we can't accompany them with making people's lives better. So I'm happy to be part of the BECAP community, working to link environmental challenges with opportunities for improving lives. So keep up the great work.